Welcome back, brothers, tourists, and ladies, to another late episode of The Chapter House, the Old Glory Club's look into the chapters and men that make up the Old Glory Club. Joining us this week and returning 1 year later, the Magnolia League from the great state of Alabama. And representing Alabama is L. How are you tonight, sir?
Yeah, good evening, guys. I'm doing well. We've been busy this summer, both with club stuff and work and life activities and everything else, but I'd say things have been going really well.
That's great. Busy is better than bored. And
Yeah, no kidding.
Dixie Boy, thanks for joining us tonight. How you doing, man?
Yes, sir. Doing well. Doing well.
And Jack also making his triumphant return. How are you, sir? Oh, you're muted, my friend. There we go.
Here I am. I'm doing great. How are you guys doing? Good to hear everybody.
Yeah, it's good to have you guys back. This is the third of our 4 first founding chapters. You guys have been with us since the very beginning, so you've got a little leg up on everybody else in terms of time. But what's this last year been like for the Magnolia League?
I'd say it's been a pretty big period of growth for us. Not so much in terms of numbers. We've remained pretty consistent, and we've sort of updated our recruitment process a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but again, we just streamlined it in some ways and changed some of the background check processes and everything else. And then two, I guess, it's relatively easy when you're a brand new organization to organize. There's more energy. People are a little bit more galvanized because it's new and exciting. And I guess as the years have worn on, it's just incentives change, motivations change, and it's been good. It's been a learning experience, I think, for everybody here involved in leadership. And again, it's been some unique challenges, but I'm here for it. I feel like I'm cutting my teeth with something pretty real and pretty legitimate, and I'm sure the other gentlemen from the Magnolia League would agree with me on that. I'd say growth pretty much on all fronts. We're trying to get more involved just in our own respective communities. We're statewide, so it's really given me a new appreciation for how large and kind of spread out the state of Alabama is. We're not like Tennessee, we're not wide, but we're very long, right? There's a lot of distance between me and the coast here. So, it's just trying to keep everybody kind of on tabs and keeping people coming to quarterly meetings and keeping people networking locally. It's been a good challenge, but I think we've managed to make it work, and I think we're just getting better as time goes on. So,
yeah, when I was down there, I think 2 years ago now, and the place I was in was somewhat, I don't know if you want to call it mountainous. It was the elevation changed somewhat dramatically, and we had absolutely no cell service. And you telling us just now that how large Alabama is, it just pinged something in my brain. One of our guys, Mellon, who I think everyone's familiar with, was talking recently about how the North, there's a lot of independent work going on in North Carolina, where people who were there and helping during the hurricane, unrelated to the Old Glory Club, are setting up basically these kind of self-contained repeater systems through the state, like little private repeaters, so that if something like that happens again, they'll be able to talk to each other using radios. I don't know if that's something you guys have talked about at all.
not us, not really. Obviously, I've got some friends that are pretty heavily invested in the radio hobby around Pelham. They're not affiliated with the club explicitly. I'm probably going to try to, maybe get them involved on some projects pretty soon. We'll see, because obviously a lot of that stuff is of great interest to us, and we have quite a few members that are pretty heavily interested in disaster relief and all that kind of stuff. Initially, our attitude was kind of a posture of like, well, start local, like get involved with your guys, in your hometown, call your fire department. I mean, most people have a rescue squad kind of in their hometown, something like that. But again, that's really been my main priority, kind of as the de facto leader of this chapter, is just trying to network and really just network with everybody I can. I'm trying to work on some connections to some people in newspaper and in journalism, and as one of our other officers has some friends in another newspaper. So yeah, it's all networking is good networking, in my opinion. But
Yeah, I mean that's the name of the game, right?
Exactly.
If the OGC and our chapters can be the hub of a network wheel that opens all the members in the club up to an even larger resource pool. And like you're saying, all networking is good networking. You never know, right? It's like detectives, right? You won't know what clue actually means something until you get some context. So maybe down the road, a networking opportunity you have had will pay off, even if it seems small at the time.
For sure. And I think we definitely get a little bit more leeway here in Alabama, just based off the sensibilities of the average Alabamian, politically and kind of morally and everything else. So I think we tend to fly pretty under the radar as far as what we can say, and the kinds of people that I guess I'm more comfortable making contact with. And it's kind of been a, I guess, unanimous thing with a lot of the chapter. But I am curious, Dixie, Jack, if y'all got anything you want to say about the last year, feel free to chime in. But it's up to y'all.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had it's pardon the digression, but
No,
so
it's
Jack,
fine.
I know you've been in for a while, so let me save you for last year. But Dixie, have you been with the Magnolia League for a long time?
Yeah, I've been involved for a good while. I was aware of, I guess the chapter pretty early on, and then joined later. But yeah, I've been around for a minute. So
Yeah, so why don't you tell us what the last year has been like from your perspective in the Magnolia League?
it's been good. I'd say that probably one of the biggest challenges, kind of like Elle alluded to, was just keeping everybody interconnected and really trying to build out each of the different sections of the state, and get those guys more interconnected. I'd say that something I'm working on in particular is trying to facilitate some more events. I guess trying to do more quarterly events for our particular section, and yeah, just getting to know the guys better. Also, on the recruiting end, we're obviously working on that process as well, and trying to bring more guys in. But overall, I think it's been a pretty good year, and I've gotten to know a lot of the guys throughout the state, at the joint meetings, I guess. But yeah, so I've been encouraged by everything. So.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, this leads into more general questions, but before we get to those, Jack, what's the last year been like for you as a member of the Magnolia League?
It's been fun, first off, and it's been encouraging because we've moved to a section system where we have section leaders over certain parts of the state, and so we concentrate on our section, having meetings with our guys in our sections, and basically, first off, just facilitating friendships where everybody knows each other. These are guys that are friends of yours. Maybe you talk to them just your exclusive methods, or through people you see and you hang out with that are that you go see on the weekend and go hunting with, or go get something to eat with. Facilitating the friendships, keeping engagement, but the fact that I'm working with the guys that are in not very far from where I live, and cementing some friendships. There's an aspect, I think, for our organization of being people in leadership, or secondary leadership, or whatever, or if you're just that personality, to look at the people that are in your group, or that are adjacent to you, and how can you help develop those people if there's something that you can help them with, that they in their growth. I am trying to remember the the name of the former member of the British Communist Party, wrote a book on leadership that Kevin Deanna recommended that I got, and ended up giving it to another club member. And he talks in terms of like understanding the people that work with you and understanding their personalities and how can you help best get them to bring them to the place the things they would like to do. So that aspect of developing people, I think, is something maybe we can talk about more in our sphere, because you have people around you. You can rely on you have brotherhood, but develop each other, rely on each other, but also with people that are leaders, you see things in people where you can cultivate certain type of development they would like to have and give them opportunities for that kind of development, if I'm not being too vague there. But
No.
it's a lot of that. There's a lot of, it's not just we have a sphere and we have some things that we talk about that are important to us, but the short and long range aspect of those things, which is the long range or that your guys can get married and have children and have families, but the short range things are how do we become the organized minority in our area to advance the thing that's important to us. So, and all those things play together. So that's been a part of my adventure of the last year with the Magnolia League, and it's been really good. I've made some really good friends out of this above everything, who have a shared vision of what's important to them, the same as me. So that's what's been great about it.
Yeah, I mean, that does sound very encouraging. I mean, you weren't being too vague at all. One of those things that I've always been interested to see is how the mentorship within the individual chapters kind of grows organically, because I know, we're mostly a millennial organization countrywide, but I know that throughout, like, every chapter mostly has an older member or two, maybe a younger boomer or some Gen X guys and a Zoomer here and there. But how is that? Has that started coming like into fruition? Have you started to see this mentorship kind of these opportunities be taken up?
Yeah, it's some of it just sort of happens. We were talking about Alabama has a really varied topography. Alabama has is the state with the widest variety of biospheres in the country. And the same way, we have a broad age group. We have a lot of married guys that are millennials, with families. But then we have a good percentage of Zoomer guys in their 20s. A few guys, I'm a Gen Xer, so there are a few guys in my age group too. We have a pretty broad age selection in our group, and a lot of the mentorship seems to just kind of fall in place naturally. I think it's because you have guys. When men get together, there's just a hierarchy, and some of it just happens. And the fact is, the way society is for us right now, that we're not in places where those things can happen in the first place. They're prohibited. Here they can happen, and they're allowed. You let it run its course. Some of those things just need. You don't have to spend too much time prescribing, aside from helping somebody that might need some direction or is seeking direction. Maybe they're looking for direction, they don't really know how to articulate it. But some of it's just the dad, uncle, brother, cousin, you're like, it's just a bunch of guys who hang out and you've got a place together, just by nature. And so let that do the work. It doesn't have to be too labored. It just seems to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you have you guys seen it as well, if you want to expand on that a little bit, Dixie L.
I guess I'll throw Dixie Boy to the wolves here. Just because he was really involved hands-on with what I kind of see as a long-term, you call it mentorship, you could call it just more of a standard kind of leadership role, but he was getting really involved in a hands-on way, just like poll watching and getting involved in kind of the like local campaign scene where he's at, and just learning the ropes and learning the logistics of kind of what it takes to just kind of like organize in a more official capacity, I guess, with existing parties, alongside existing organizations. Again, a lot of networking. He's taught me some things about networking in some of those more official capacities, and titles and names that I could look for or dig into. And again, he's been a wealth of information kind of in that regard, and it's been him and a couple other guys out in their neck of the woods there that have spearheaded what I think is a pretty huge project. So, if he would want to elaborate on some of that, I think that'd be great. But otherwise,
Yeah. I guess I'll keep it relatively vague, but yeah, we've definitely got some groups around here we're involved with, some local political groups, just some of the guys, and we've met some some I guess people you'd say that are behind the scenes with a lot of what's going on, that have been able to teach us a lot of stuff. Some of the younger guys, there's one guy in particular, he's just been involved with state politics for a very long time, is very knowledgeable about how everything works, just very very interconnected with a lot of folks and such. And but yeah, I'd say just a lot of what the success we had in our particular neck of the woods is, I think it was just a lot of kind of grassroots type stuff. I mean, just knocking doors, shaking hands, meeting people, but yeah, I don't know how detailed I need to be on this, or
No,
I don't know how much deeper I want to go, but
keep it vague. If it's fine, you
Yeah.
don't really have to get into it. I just
I
wanted to.
think that covers it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a good example of this is something you guys are learning to do together, and
yeah,
it's just an activity that you guys have picked up a couple of members, right? That's great. Now you mentioned towards the beginning that the initial explosion onto the scene that the OGC had, along with the four first founding chapters, all kind of had a great deal of momentum. And this was, people forget that this was under Biden and things were looking pretty bad. Now we're under Trump. A lot of people are getting complacent, as it seems to me. Have you guys seen kind of that initial momentum has plateaued, or has it started to kind of, the interest that you're getting has kind of started to dwindle over the last year?
Yeah, if I had to put it in certain terms, I'd say it's not so much that interest has dwindled. I think, especially with certain demographics stateside, there's a ton of interest, and guys really want to get involved. They're kind of looking for a direction, and they're looking for something bigger than themselves. It's not so much that the kind of energy started to, well, yeah, in some ways the energy changed, is my point. It's kind of pivoting focus and sort of learning, because you're absolutely right that I think the impulse of a lot of conservatives in this kind of moment right now is they just want to grill, man, and until something kind of big happens on the headlines or anything like that, they're just gonna grill. And it's tough because we're all doing this for free on our own time, and as we've all got different family obligations, job obligations, stuff like that. So it's kind of having to learn how to just retool a lot of the incentive structures and retool kind of how to talk to people about trying to get involved, and managing some of those conversations, because we had people that reached out to the chapter a while ago, kind of like late Biden admin, like early Trump admin, and a lot has changed since then, and we're following up with them and interviewing them and kind of getting to know them, and yeah, stuff has changed. Maybe their priorities have changed, maybe our priorities have changed, so it's kind of just getting reacquainted with just organizing and trying to keep people engaged, because it's like you said, I think when Biden, that administration went down and kind of Trump came back into office, I think that the priorities just changed. So
Yeah, I imagine that's going to be a similar thing year over year. There's always, these things are constantly in flux, and there's going to be a lot of highs and lows, but the mission stays the same. Just how it's approached, I can see being a little bit different. So you guys, you've always as far as I'm aware, and for the brothers watching, we've collected the census data, and it takes a really long time to collate. So we're already halfway through the year, and we don't have it yet for you, but it's coming soon. But you guys have always kind of been one of our larger chapters, and I know that you started with this kind of more military structure in mind, something to keep it a little bit more rigid, or I guess a better word for it would be a little bit more clear on how the hierarchy is built. And I know that you went over this last year, but for the benefit of the brothers, would you mind going over how your chapter is structured again?
Sure, yeah. The system that we run is we've got the 5 traditional officers within the OGC, organization: president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. There's one more in there, or there are 4.
Yeah, there's 4, and then there's the
Okay,
one
4.
member.
Okay, yeah. What we principally changed is that we rolled out kind of a tiered system of section leaders where, we have the officers that sort of oversee the operations of the organization itself. Me and the secretary and the VP and the treasurer do a lot of the kind of administrative work, and we divvy that up and whatnot. And below us, in a sense, are the section leaders, in the sense that they're directly interacting with sort of groups of guys in a local area. It's just a little bit more decentralized. The section leaders are building rapport with the 5 to 10 to 12 kind of guys in their area that they're all within maybe 30 to 45 minutes of. And then we're all kind of talking to each other constantly, just about, organizational updates, stuff that's going on, meetups, so on and so forth. But I guess that's more the kind of military structure of it. Is we've got the officers, we've got section leaders that divvy up, different regions of the state, and then the individual members of said sections. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a system that makes a lot of sense, especially for one that's got so many members. How do you feel that it's been going over the last year? Is it a system you guys are happy with? Have you had to make some tweaks here and there? How's it been working out?
There's been some tweaks, and it's been a learning experience, I think, for a lot of us, just because decentralization obviously carries advantages and disadvantages. And I love the advantages that come with decentralization, and I'm glad that Jack has a good rapport with his people locally, and I know who they are. I don't know them as well as he does, though, but if there's an issue or if I have a question, I can go to him, and he has more of an idea of like, oh yeah, this guy will be cut out for this project. I could talk to, X person about doing this thing. And same with Dixie Boy here. I'm not as in touch with his section, but him and that's one of the other officers in his area do a pretty good job following up with us. We do bi-weekly meetings typically. I've had some stuff going on recently, so it's been a little touch and go, and again, another challenge. But I would say in general, the benefits when it comes to OPSEC and the benefits when it comes to having a clear authority structure, because the main thing with the section leader, right, is it cultivates that sense of kind of hierarchy. It cultivates that sense of mentorship and authority, because the members are reporting to the section leaders about projects they want to get started, or hey, I want to meet up at this place at this time. Hey, let's go dove hunting. Hey, let's go to a cookout. And then the section leaders are convening and organizing it. They're organizing with the other higher ranking members of the organization. So it's this kind of upstream flow of information, and it goes both ways, obviously. But I think it's working really well. But I'm not going to lie, it does present some challenges, but just with the nature of decentralization.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, this whole organization was built on a decentralized model, and at a certain point, you grow too big to have the people at the top of any hierarchy really know exactly what's going on the ground. And sometimes it's, even if you could have perfect knowledge, it might be information overload, a lot of things you might not need to know. But Dixie, Jack, are you guys the section leaders in your area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's great. Do you I mean, this is kind of a pointed question, and again, answer these things however you see fit. What are the challenges that you guys have run into as kind of these, and I don't mean this in any pejorative way, these kind of middlemen between the men in your area and the guys larger at the state level?
Sorry, you go ahead, Jack.
Go ahead. That's what I was saying.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like in our particular section, it works pretty well. Like Elle said, there's another, I guess, member of the cabinet that's in our area, and I feel like we kind of more or less work together, and it generally things flow pretty well. I guess things that I'm working on to try to improve, and this has been more of a recent thing, but just to be more active in regards to recruiting, obviously looking for guys that know people that are already in our section, preferably, and then, obviously other avenues too. And then also, getting our guys together more as a group. I mean, there's a number of guys in our section that have known each other for a while, church related stuff, things like that. But yeah, we're definitely trying to increase, I guess, events where we can, increase the amount of events and such that we can get together and build better relationships with the folks we don't know as well in our sections, I guess. But overall, I'd say things are going pretty well. So.
Yeah, I would agree with mine. For me, it's just you're more invested. You're more invested in the club, and it's also a good way to just. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested in the guys, and so it's a good way to keep up with people. With people that work, like on a monthly work schedule, so you don't get to see them for a while, then you see them a lot, then you don't, or converse. And then all our leadership cabinet is very approachable, so I can hit them up for questions pretty much anytime I've got one, or if there's a project we're working on. But otherwise, it's just. More than anything, it's just my concern is I want to make sure I'm doing things that's keeping my section members engaged, so they feel like we're doing something. Although I've been advised by some of them too that, hey, don't underrate just the hangout aspect of things, particularly for everybody, because we are in the anti-male world, so anywhere where the guys can get together and speak their minds and talk openly about what's important to them is valuable. And know that that you're not a hermit out in the woods someplace that has an idea about things. So that in itself is valuable. But to have actual tangible things to do, and some of the projects, like what Dixie Boy, what their group was doing, we're looking also to do in my area as well, and trying to get a handle on that, becoming the organized minority. What can we do as an organized minority? And things are just important. The historical aspect of it. A lot of what was amazing to me when I joined this group, a lot of guys in their 20s, and Dixie Boy is also, you're not 20 anymore, but you're still one of these guys, have a strong knowledge, localized knowledge of Alabama history, of their particular neck of the woods. They know all this detail about it. I have all these scholars that were in our midst that I didn't realize to start talking to them. So between history. And the things are just what are just needs. We got one of our guys was going through a situation, and everybody's getting all kinds of resume advice and go. Hey, here's a job. Go bid on it. And, all those things. Someone needs a job, or we're just looking to reinforce what's important to us with our book group or historical groups within the club. It's good to have my hand and know people and be able to understand, because I have my own desires and ambitions with this. Where what we can do when you've got your own tribe, you can do things, and so it's good. It's all good. And like I said, I just want to make sure I keep everybody engagement to a level that they're satisfied with.
Yeah, I mean that sounds great, guys. It's really singing the praises of that system. And, you know, that's what the show is about, giving ideas to your brothers in other chapters, and I hope that they're able to take some advice from that. Now, you guys both didn't. Neither of you answered my question directly, which makes me think that you know, the challenges you might have had with the system are so slight that they're not really worth talking about. But before we get off of it, how is the like? How often did the how do I say this? Is there are like you say, Alabama is a large state. Is there a lot of kind of cross pollination between the sections? Do people have a general understanding? They feel like they know other men from other sections of the Magnolia League?
I'd say so.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
would agree.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm more like my meetings. I always try to put it out to the leadership chat and say, well, we're having to get together. You or any of your guys are welcome to hang out at XYZ place, you know, this next weekend or this weekend. Just because it's just good to mix things up and have reach outside of your own section. So we're not trying to be too sub tribal about it.
No, and it is. We do have the quarterly meetings too, where the entire organization gets together, and there's a lot of, I would say, cross pollination between the sections. That's kind of the main opportunity I think that I've had, especially recently, to do that, is because I've been busy with work and other things. But and I think that the quarterly meetings are good because it does really give guys more of a perspective of what the organization looks like statewide, I guess, and kind of the attitude and demeanor of the different sections and how they've kind of developed somewhat independently, not totally independently, obviously, because again, it's like the officers of the organization are involved in the recruitment process and so on and so forth. But anyways, hopefully that gives a little bit more perspective, because I don't think the quarterly meets, that's something I forgot to mention.
Yeah, I mean, the quarterly meetings is something that I've run into before, especially with some of the larger chapters or the ones that cover a larger geographic area. I mean, like again, Alabama's not small, but you know, New England does a very similar thing. They try to host it around the the 5 states that make up New England, so that people can end up making it. But something you'd mentioned before about you used the word recruiting, and that means, you know, different things to different people. And part of the confederated model is that it's going to be approached in different ways. Some chapters kind of have this kind of slow you know, let people come to us sort of thing. We'll do the networking, but we're not going to advertise who we are and what it is that we're doing. You know, the being able to find us is a kind of selection process in itself. How do you guys approach recruiting? Has it changed since you guys founded? What was that, 2023?
Believe so. I think we're 3 years old. It's definitely evolved, and it's been one of the main things that's been weighing on me, I guess, is we have changed the model, right? And it was along the lines initially, because this is the impression that I get. This is kind of before my regime, I guess you could say. And it was sort of that we'll let people come to us, and finding out about us is the selection process. But, you know, Pete Quinones said something to me. He said, you know, we'll call you. You know, you're not going to, like, we'll call you. And I think we've kind of moved more generally towards the posture of doing that, since we are big enough. And I'd say a lot of our members, you know, run in a lot of different social circles and places. And I mean, I have a lot of friends, so I'm trying to slowly, not, I wouldn't say recruit, but just gauge their interest, because, you know, via one way or another, most of my friends know about the existence of this organization, totally independent of me, right? And I think that, you know, a lot of the people involved in recruitment within leadership, we implicitly know when someone is going to be kind of a good match for the organization at this point. I think we've ironed out a lot of the initial kind of hesitancy and uncertainty, and it's, again, you live and learn. You start trusting your gut a little bit more, and you recognize, like, okay, this person is a good fit, this person is not. It just becomes more intuitive. So it's like I said, PQ just kind of laid it out really succinctly. It was like, don't call us, like, we'll call you. I think we've kind of moved more to that posture, that model, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels good to be able to be choosy about who it is
Definitely.
that you're trying to bring into your membership. It's also, it's got its own. It becomes a necessity at some point, especially, there's, as you said before, you kind of fly under the radar, but you can never really know how long that's going to last. When men get together and start acting, eventually it draws the notice of people. And as you said about us being in a world that's kind of anti-male, that even getting together with a group of men is something that's kind of looked askance at. Even if you're just a drinking club, people are going to talk about it. So, and so how do you guys handle like meeting with the potential recruits? Like, do you have like the section leaders meet with them, or do you have like the guys in state leadership come down to vet people, or is it kind of more decentralized again?
Yeah, if you want to talk about it a little bit, feel free, Dixie.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, from my experience, it's just been really the section leaders going out and meeting the guys and vetting them more or less. And generally, I guess, preferably, we've been looking for guys that are connected with folks in the chapter, people have known for a while. They know kind of how they view the world and where they stand on issues and such. And that way you don't present a security risk or anything like that. So, but you go ahead, Elle, if you want.
Yeah, we've got, I would say, a pretty comprehensive interview process that we've been refining over the past couple of years. And, it involves some online stuff, it involves some questionnaires, it involves a lot of different vectors, a lot of different modes of interview. And as we've learned, somebody might do something, well, they might respond well to questionnaire, they might respond well to an interview, whereas in person they might come off a little bit different. So I'd say, and again, there's advantages and disadvantages. On the one hand, I'm extremely confident and I trust that a lot of our members are solid and they're not going to pull anything or try to do anything. But it takes longer because we are pretty thorough with our vetting. We're not the most thorough chapter when it comes to vetting, I know, but we're pretty comprehensive.
I feel like we're pretty thorough. I mean,
yeah.
Me and I have to go out and meet people. I'm the front facing guy. You guys in my section, so I feel we're pretty thorough. And then it's having people that other club members recommend. Well, that helps a lot. We're not talking about people they just met 5 minutes, like people they've known for years and already know what their character is like and what their inclinations are. So that helps the we'll call you type mentality, which I think is great because we got people now. So we're not like we're hurting for membership. Now it's like we can be more discreet about people we think they're a good fit and people that like, well, who would you like to have in your club if you could pick who it was? Well, we'd like that guy there. That's the guy that we need. So you can have a little bit more of that. But a lot of it, like Ella's saying too, some of it's just learn. You kind of learn to trust your gut about things. But for the most part, I feel like our vetting system, we've got a questionnaire online, for crying out loud. None of this send me an email stuff. So we got, and just fill out the questionnaire. You don't fill out the thing, we don't talk to you. It's just great.
Yeah, I mean, again, a vetting process. Like, if you're too lazy to do this, like, why would we think you're not going to be too lazy to do other things when we ask you to do them?
Exactly.
Because I remember speaking to you last year, you guys mentioned that you do the you kind of assign responsibilities to get new members more involved. Is this still a regular practice?
Yes.
Yeah, we're trying to roll out some new projects, or I'm trying to roll out some new projects here in the very near future, and trying to get people involved in organizing some statewide events and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm still getting used to the idea of almost assigning missions and reaching out to people sometimes directly. Kind of in that regard. But yeah, we still do that. And I'd say I try to be a little bit more laissez-faire because I don't want to step on the toes of individual section leaders with their guys. It's something we kind of talk about, in our biweekly meetings, and then they kind of divvy out the more specific directions. But it is something that we do, yes, particularly when it comes to recruitment.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that the model's been working well this last year. One of our chapters has what I think is a brilliant requirement for people who join, is that they have to familiarize themselves with the writings of Schmidt. I don't think they have to read his entire bibliography, but at least his pamphlets on the political there are kind of are required reading for this chapter for any new members. And it makes me wonder what other like interesting things that our chapters are putting new recruits, things that they have to do in order to kind of say, all right, you're in this now, we're requiring you to be at least this level. Now I know that I'm asking you guys to kind of compare yourselves to practices unknown, but is there anything that kind of stands out in your mind that you think might be an interesting or unique, or something that's been especially helpful with bringing new recruits in that your brothers and other chapters might benefit from?
There's been some conversation recently about an initiation ritual of some kind. I think things like that are valuable. I think that's probably a pretty good idea. I'm still working on it with one of the other section leaders, but it's probably something that we hope to roll out relatively, I say relatively soon. What does that mean? But, it's a work in progress, I'll put it that way. But it is something that I do think I would want to implement, at least for our organization, is an initiation ritual, some kind of test of some kind, just to demonstrate that, like, okay, you are serious about this, and you've done something manifest beyond just meeting a couple strangers in public. No, now you have to come to our turf, you have to do something to prove something to us. Nothing crazy, right? But it's kind of the thing, it doesn't take much in most of these circumstances.
I got one for you, and it's particular to Alabama. You ask people, a prospect, how many Confederate flag photos do you have on your phone?
Yeah.
And I see now some of you may not realize Alabama was once part of a country separate from the United States. And so it never ceases to amaze me and I'm glad how deeply that runs with people that are prospects for our club. That they were in the Sons of Confederates, or whatever, keeping up Confederate monuments or grave sites, or just, like I said, these guys that are Confederate scholars just because of whatever battles were fought in their county. There's no exaggeration. That runs deep. And so if someone wants to join us, and if there's not a rebel flag somewhere in there, something that I get acquainted, I'm going to be a little suspicious, to be honest, because that literally is a huge bond for people in this state, or people that come to it and love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that. To be fair, that is a pretty low bar. I'm a Yankee, and I have Confederate flag photos on my phone. So. But elsewhere in the world, you'd be, a pariah for having such a thing. So it is a low bar in one sense, but the absence of that would be like, what's wrong? Who are you? What kind of communist are you coming in here without that? Yeah, where'd you drift in from?
Yeah,
it don't take much in most situations.
So I had
that much. I'm sorry. This is how much that much though isn't, and that's what's advantageous for us in Alabama, is that some of these things are still they're still there. they're denigrated, but some things you can have an instant bond with people, and so we want to ensure. I mean, not with everybody, of course, but you within reason. It's a common thread. A lot. It's not that hard to find. Anyway, so go ahead. Sorry.
Elle, were you going to say something?
No, that was it. We're on the same page. It's just, you ask somebody a simple question like that, and it's part of the intuitive process. I've got certain questions I plug guys with. So,
yeah, I mean that's great. You mentioned the initiation ritual, and the reason I keep bringing them up is because obviously they're the ones I'm most familiar with. But the new Ivy League has an initiation ritual, which is one of the reasons why their membership numbers are so relatively low, which is not at all a bad thing. It's this initiation ritual is somewhat grueling and requires a bit of planning. So it kind of keeps the numbers down, or at least the amount of initiation. So I'm looking forward to see how that shakes out for you guys. Now this is a complete aside, but I need to know. Is it true that Mardi Gras started in Mobile?
That would be correct. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right, come on, give us a little story, because Mardi Gras, it's in my mind, it's Nolans, right?
All right, y'all take it. I'm sure y'all know the specifics of the history a bit better than I do. Unless
I don't. Dixie Boy, do you know that one?
Not as familiar with Mardi Gras. Not necessarily my neck of the woods in the state. Nor I don't really have French ancestry either, so it's not really.
I'm a francophone, so I guess I got a leg up on
Scots
y'all.
Irish.
Yeah, I'm Scots Irish. I just speak French for a hellish reason. But anyways, it's just the human settlement in Mobile. I mean, I think they started doing it. They started doing parades, I think, before New Orleans did, at least officially. That's my understanding, is a lot of the official stuff as far as Mardi Gras parades with floats predates the New Orleans stuff. And also, I'm not sure about this. Somebody can fact check me on this, and I don't really want to pull up another tab to search the facts right now. But it's like the time, the date that people settled in Mobile versus New Orleans. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I don't necessarily think New Orleans was settled earlier, but I think some of those traditions began in Mobile before they started in New Orleans. Because you read about the history of Mardi Gras in New Orleans and the origins of the ceremony and kind of what it transformed into, and it sounds pretty unfamiliar, the stuff they were doing in the 1880s and the 1890s and so on, that evolved into the modern celebration. So yeah, that's my understanding. But yeah, obviously, like I'm gonna rep my team, man. Yeah, it started in Mobile. Yeah.
That's great. This is something I want to hear discussed between members of the Magnolia League and some of the Beauregard's Bayou crew at the next national meetup. Speaking of meetups, how many people you sending to the Southwest Forum?
That's something we got to talk about. We're going to try to get some representatives there. Push comes to shove, I would love to go back to Texas again. I had a great time the last time I was out there. I'd like to be to Dallas. I'd like to see Dallas too. I was in Houston last time I was out there, so we'll have somebody there. But hopefully we will discuss that tonight, if not next week.
Yeah, I mean, just to remind everybody, we've got a lot of things coming up. Southwest Forum. There's one in Michigan, Wisconsin. It's around there. Coming up in September, and the new Ivy League is hosting one as well in September. And don't forget, the East Coast Forum is also underway. Tickets will be going on sale for all of those. Make sure you check with your leadership and on how to get those if you can attend. So we're coming up. I know we started a little late, so we'll go a little late, but we've got a super chat here from Hengland Stewart, 3228 for $4.99. I imagine that this is an inside joke, but staking sheet says 42 foot to next pole. There's a ditch between. Why does taping along the ground give me the wrong distance, and what's the fix?
Yeah, I'm a land surveyor by trade, and I post about it pretty publicly on Twitter. So, yeah, I have my my hardcore surveying, appreciators out there, and yeah, this is funny. He texted me and said, "Get trolled." I was like, "What the heck is going on?" And, yeah, anyways, good stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty funny. I love trades related jokes. Do you use soft measuring tapes?
Yeah, I do. I like to use them. And obviously, I'm probably the last generation of surveyor that will do so. I'm probably the last generation of surveyor that will stand behind a physical piece of equipment. But yeah, it's really pretty impressive if you know how to run a tape correctly, how accurate you can get with just, again, it's a fiberglass tape and then just eyeballing it. They're pretty precise. So.
Well, that's awesome. And Jack, before I let this go, is your avatar Jack Nicholson from Chinatown?
That's correct.
Great movie. Perfect noir film.
Yeah.
Highly recommend everybody watch that. So as we're coming up into the final stretch here, let us what are some of the things you guys have been getting up to for like events, for statewide events? I know the usual things that are going to go on down the south are going to be hunting, hiking, outdoorsman stuff. Do you guys have anything that's a little, I don't know, maybe Alabama specific?
I have one. One of our towns has a German Oktoberfest because of the German immigrants, as well as a Germanic Christmas celebration that goes on for a month.
We lost you for a second there. So you said a Germanic Christmas?
Yeah, celebration because it was a town founded by German immigrants. So, we have a Germanized fall, and people come from around for both for the Oktoberfest and for the Christmas.
So I don't know if this is German, but is that like you get that big stinky wheel of cheese, the raclette, and they scrape it off onto a sandwich? Is that German?
I have no idea. Usually the emphasis is on beer or on meats. So,
well, I mean, those things all kind of go together: beer, meat, cheese.
Sure.
Yeah, we should make the Oktoberfest. That should be a bigger meetup. We're trying to organize like a statewide camping event. I'm going to gun pretty hard to organize that for early to late fall. And then, we've got a dove hunt that, we kind of let some people on. That's a little bit more, I guess, you got to be invited to that because obviously we're going on one of the members, his family's land. But we got that coming down the pipe. Oktoberfest. Yeah, that covers everything off the top of my head.
We had some guys go to Horseshoe Bend. It was a battlefield site from the Creek War up in, I guess it's up in Tallapoosa County. But yeah, we had some guys go up there. That was Jackson and the White Sticks against the Red Sticks. They had a conflict up there. So historical sites, I guess, is another thing that we're trying to do more of, is go to different places in the state.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you guys have so many scholars, as Jack alluded to, you'd be foolish not to utilize them. I mean, I know that whenever the guys get together at Gettysburg, one of the members is usually, running the tour for the club, but they end up, taking on tourists. People who aren't in the club end up just kind of joining because they want to hear this tour guide that isn't an official tour guide. So I'd be interested to see that going on as well. Now, real quick before we get off it, can you explain a dove hunt to a poor Yankee who doesn't really see doves as something that are hunted?
Yeah. So for me personally, I've done a little bit of hunting kind of off and on for a long time, deer and turkey. And whatnot. And I think turkey hunting's fine. I'm not too big on deer hunting just because I need to move around. I want to move around. I want to feel more engaged in kind of what's going on. So with the dove hunt, what they did is they cleared, I'd say, yeah, it's a pretty huge shooting lane. Maybe, it's hard to say. And I do measuring for a living, so I want to get real technical. But say about like a football field, size. They cleared that out, let some underbrush grow, and they were seeding it with it's like different types of berries and feed, and it attracts doves just naturally. So they nest in the bushes because that's what they do. They kind of nest more so on the ground. And then you get a group of guys. I think there was 5 of us last year, and one of them goes and flushes out the doves, running through the brush, and the other people, they walk up and down this field and just take shots at the doves as they fly out from the brush. And obviously, you kind of stand in a line. There's some organization and a bit of a method to it, but not really. It's kind of just you hope the doves are there, and you put in the work to attract them, and you just the land is right, and kind of the weather's right, and everything sort of works out, and then you get some doves. I shot one. I think we got maybe 6 to 8 total. I think the first day they were out there. So
are doves good eating, or is this pest control?
I didn't eat them. The other guys did. I had to leave just because I had other engagements, other stuff going on. But they said they're pretty good, and I believe them. I think that because people have eaten doves in Europe and America for a long time. I would believe it's less pest control. You can definitely eat them, and I've heard of people, some redneck types eating them pretty frequently. But yeah,
they're good. They're good. You prepare them good. They're good.
Well, I'm going to have to make some time to come down there and participate in such festivities. When's dove season?
I couldn't tell you the exact date, but it's October. It starts in
fall,
mid to late October.
Someone
September.
said today, and I think it was like the first weekend in October. I think maybe.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it's a bit frustrating because I think it starts something like that first weekend of October at 2:00. You can't start in the morning. You got to start at 2 or that. So it's a bit arbitrary, but
They want people to sleep in.
It works for us, but yeah.
Guys, that is fascinating. I had no idea that doves were a thing that was hunted. I imagine all animals at one point or another were hunted, but I guess this is just the modern in me talking. We've got 2 more super chats from Wingman 4564. First one for $2. Mississippi would like to claim the Magnolia CHP. What is CHP? Does anyone know?
Assume chapter.
Oh yeah, no, guys, you're too late. You should have.
Yeah, sorry, we knew this was going to happen, but yeah.
Yeah, at this point, you're in the 3rd founding, boys. You gotta, it benefits those who come early. And he follows up for another $2. How to move past the drinks every quarter phase. I think if you guys don't, if this isn't something that's personal, you guys, I think he might be asking, how do you leverage the drinking every meeting together every quarter for some kind of relaxed joviality into actually doing stuff?
You think you ask each other, well, what we like to do if we could do, and then start picking some things out. What's important to you? What are the things you could do if you could do them? What are the is it the historical stuff? Is it nature stuff? Your conservation? Is it some sort of political involvement? Is it? We're not a political club. We're just a fraternity. But men come together to do all those things, and that's what the Elks Lodge and all the other fraternal organizations were all about in the first place, where the men come together and they determine things they can do in their community that are important to them. So just go down. Just keep it simple. What are things you want to do? And then how do you implement those things? Well, it might take some research, but again, an organized minority, you do the organization and put some time into it in order to achieve the desired end. So even for just a meetup or a hangout, that's more than just a drinking club. So, you know.
Yeah, and just in case, Wingman, you weren't here a little earlier when we talked about this, assigning responsibility for certain tasks, right? Like, this is something that I really loved last year talking to Magnolia League about, and something that I've seen adopted in other chapters. The New Ivy League in New England, whenever they have a quarterly meeting in a state, somebody from that state is appointed responsible for finding a venue, setting everything up, even if they're not an officer or in a position of relative authority. So like Jack was saying, you get the ideas, and the people who we're men, right? We're men of action. So the people who are most gung-ho about those ideas should take responsibility for them, and don't be afraid to kind of put that on them if they're really serious about it. Is there anything else you guys wanted to say on this?
The only thing I'd add is, my main focus and one of my main priorities is as part of what's evolved, I guess, in the organization is just finding people that are more willing to kind of be natural leaders and putting them in a position where they can give those directions, because obviously that coincides with the organization of our chapter, but also I think that's really key, is just identifying who your important people are and giving them